Welcome, welcome. This is our Sunday School Lesson 3. It's our third one. I hope you've been with me for the first and the second, because if you were, you learned all about Noah and his amazing ark and about the rainbow. Let's see, do I have my rainbow here somewhere? I don't see it. It's here somewhere. Anyway, and you also learned about Joseph. I can find Joseph. And there's his amazing coat of many colors. And today you're going to learn about another exciting person and read another exciting story from the Bible. But to get started, let's remember a couple of things. First of all, here's my Bible. I hope you have your Bible. Run and get it if you don't have it, please. And we've been looking at the book of Genesis. So our first two stories came from the book of Genesis. And remember, Genesis means beginning. So it makes sense. It's the first book, right? But let's pretend you can't find it. You can always go. We've learned this already. You can always go to the table of contents. See where that's in the beginning of my Bible? I turn in almost the beginning and there's the table. And I can find the page that any book is on. So if you're sitting in church and the pastor says, or you're in Sunday school and your teacher says, oh, we're studying the book of Genesis, you can just find it and turn to the right page. But today, we're not going to be looking at the book of Genesis. Book of Genesis is the first book. I'd like you to turn a few more pages. We're going to be looking at the book of Exodus. I just happened to turn to the very first page. That was an accident. But Exodus is another important book. It's one of the books that we share with our Jewish friends and neighbors. It's the second book. And in Exodus, we're going to be looking at chapter 2. Do you see the number 2? So our story for today is one of our stories from the Old Testament. Remember we talked about the Old Testament is like your roots. This is one of the stories from the roots of our faith. And our story is about a baby who is named Moses. And because this book has some wonderful pictures in that, I'd like to read from this book rather than reading from the Bible. But the whole story starts in Exodus chapter 2. And that's where I'm getting that story. So here it says, if you are a reader, please read with me. If you are not, feel free to listen. God's people lived in a country where there was a mean king. And I want to go, I know I stopped already, but the reason I say a mean king is I want you to know a little bit about the history. You guys interested in history? I think history is amazing. Anyway, you probably have heard of, in Egypt, the kings. What was another name for the kings? They called them, yes, pharaohs. Pharaohs. And you might have heard of a very famous pharaoh or king. Have you heard of King Tut? Yeah, he was one of the kings in Egypt. Anyway, this story is before King Tut, but back in the day, in the pharaohs, if you remember from last week, Joseph became friends with one of the kings, with one of the pharaohs. Do you remember why? Yes, because he was able to, the king had a dream, and Joseph was able to tell him what the dream meant, which meant that the king was, they had all this money and grain and they were great. And so Joseph was a friend of that king. But in the time of Moses, the king in Moses' time didn't know Joseph. Joseph had already died and his brothers had died. So this king didn't have positive feelings about all the Hebrew or the Israelite children. He didn't have that positive feeling. And he didn't like the fact that there were lots of these people that he really didn't understand that lived around him. Because remember, he's king. He wants to be boss. He didn't want all those people around. So he was, I don't like those people. So that's why they're saying he was a mean king. He was mean because he didn't like God's people. He didn't like the Israel people. This mean king made everyone work very hard. He treated them like slaves. They worked very, very hard. And he even wanted to get rid of all the boy babies. If I get rid of the boy babies, there won't be so many people. So that's his plan. And that is very mean, isn't it? So there was a family. This family had a baby, and the baby's name was Moses. And if you read from Exodus, Moses is a very, very important person. We share Moses with a lot of religions, with the Muslim religion, with the Jewish religion, but in Christianity we also study a lot about Moses. The family loved Moses. They wanted to keep him safe. They don't want anything to happen to their boy baby. So God gave Moses' mom an idea. She made a special basket that could float. You see the basket? This is Moses's, oops, go the right way. This is Moses' mom, and this is Moses' sister. So then Moses' mom put him in a basket, and then she put Moses into the basket. See the baby inside? That's a pretty cool idea. She carried the basket to the river, and she floated it on the water. So I don't know if you can imagine having your baby brother or sister put in a basket and put in the water, but that was the plan. Moses' big sister, Miriam, do you see Miriam here? She's watching, stayed to watch Moses. What's going to happen? Soon, the mean king's daughter, the Pharaoh's daughter, came along. The princess came to the river. She saw the basket. She opened the basket, and there was a baby boy. Miriam, remember, Miriam is Moses' sister. So Miriam was very brave. She came to the princess. She came down and she said to the princess, "Shall I find someone to take care of this baby?" And the princess said, "Yes." What do you think is Miriam's idea? So her mom put Moses in the river, right? Miriam is watching, and now Pharaoh's daughter comes along, the princess comes along, and she needs somebody to take care of the baby. Well, Miriam ran to get her mom. Her idea is her mom could take care of Moses. And the princess loves that idea. Well, that's great. Have this person come along. She doesn't know that that was Moses' sister, and she doesn't know that that's Moses' mother. All she knows is, yay, here's somebody that can take care of the baby for me. Moses' family was glad that baby Moses was safe. And you'll notice it says right here, God gives us people who care for us, even in scary times. And I want you to notice in this story, so even though the king was very mean, when Moses' mom got the idea, God said to her, "Hey, this is a good plan for you. Put the baby in a basket." And then Miriam watches, right? Miriam watches. So who comes along? The Pharaoh's daughter. Do you think the Pharaoh is going to say no to his daughter? No, of course not. So the Pharaoh gets the daughter. Here's another person come along. God sends a lot of people into our lives. And then the princess agrees to have Moses' mom take care of the baby. That's pretty amazing, if you ask me. I love that story. And we are going to be making a basket. And I want to make one more connection for you because you guys have been with me now. This is our third lesson. Do you remember the ark that Noah made, the big boat? And he put it in the water to keep the animals and his family safe? This is kind of like another little ark, isn't it? Except this time it's a basket. So we're going to be making a basket. All right. You will need a piece of paper, and you'll need some markers. And I don't have a brown marker. I wish I did. If you have a brown marker, you're probably going to want to use it. But I'm going to use these colors, and they'll work fine. They'll work fine for what we're doing. And so the first thing I need you to do is to fold your paper almost all the way down to the bottom. Do you see how I'm folding it? But I'm not going all the way down to the bottom. Can you see that? I'm going to fold it and I'll show you better in just a second. Here I go. I'm folding my paper. And it goes mostly, but not all the way down to the bottom. You need to leave this space, okay? And we're going to draw kind of like, this wasn't on purpose, it's just working out this way, kind of like, do you remember the rainbow? The rainbow that was part of God's promise? We're going to draw kind of like that rainbow, but we're going to draw this shape. So you'll notice I didn't go all the way down to the bottom. I just drew two curves, so it curves up, and the top is flat. Make sure that this top part is flat right there. You're going to need that. I made a mistake the first time, and I didn't make it flat, and whoops, it didn't work. Okay, so would you cut those curves? Don't cut all the way down to the bottom, just the curves. And I'm going to do that. I don't think I can do it with you watching my curve, but I'll do it right here. So there's one side. See how I cut that off? And then cut the other side. We got to go kind of fast, like I said in our last video. These, I have to do these pretty quick. They can only be 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So we're going fast. All right, so now I have this shape, and you'll notice, it folds up, yeah? That's the idea. Okay, so now we need this to look like a basket. And I kind of drew it like this. That was my idea of a basket. I don't know. Is that what you think? You can draw your basket any way you want to. And I'm going to do this super fast with you. And I'm going to use orange and yellow. And you can use whatever colors you want. And let's make this look like a basket. So I'm just drawing some little shapes like this. Whoops. So I'm just drawing like this. Just kind of some squigglies. You can draw that if you want. If you have a different idea, knock yourself out. It's beautiful. Because no matter what, these are going to look fabulous just because they are. I can't shut my orange. I don't know why it doesn't want to shut. It's going to dry up if I can't get it shut. All right, there we go. Sort of did. All right, there's my yellow. I'll put some yellow on there. So it's getting better. What do you think? You don't like it? Okay, that's all right. I like it. I like my basket. All right, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to put some green in here. This is going to be a very colorful basket. In the story, you'll notice the basket was just one color. And if you want to see what the basket looked like in the story, that's how they did it. You can draw it like that if you want to. That's fine. But I just want a colorful basket. So there's the top of my basket. And then I'm going to draw the bottom of my basket. And I'm kind of in a hurry. I hope you take longer than I am. So it's really nice. Mine will be fine. It'll be fine. I did a better job the first time because I took more time. My orange just does not want to work. What is up with that? Nobody knows. All right. So here's my basket. My basket part is done. And I only have a couple minutes. So now the key to this is what's inside the basket? It's baby Moses. Yes. So I'm going to show you the one that I did because I took a little more time with this. That was my baby Moses. But I'll tell you, just like in the pictures, Moses lived in Egypt. And the people of Egypt, if you go back and look, and Arab people tend to have darker skin. I wish I had a light brown or something, but I don't. I'm looking for, well, this is kind of an example. But anyway, I don't have any of those colors. So I'm going to make my baby Moses is going to have a, what color blanket? I'm going to give him a green blanket. So here's a green blanket. And I'm going to give him the top to the blanket. So there's my blanket for Moses. Okay, and then I need a head, right? Because Moses has a head. And I'm going to make his head red. Just because I don't have another color. But I'm going to make his head red. So there's his head. And then he needs hair. Probably not a lot of hair because he's a baby, right? And I'm going to make his hair black. I don't have brown, so I'm going to make it black. And I give him just a little bit of hair. And there's a little bit of hair. You see that? And then I'm going to give him, I think his eyes are probably closed. So I'm just going to do little slits because he's probably sleeping. Do you think? So there's my Moses face. There he is in the basket. So when I open my basket, there's Moses. Okay, and last thing, super quick-a-mundo. God cares for us, and we need to remember God sends people to our lives that help us, and God is watching and caring for us all the time. That comes from Exodus 2, verses 1 through 11. I'm going to say bye-bye for now. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.